Hey guys, welcome back. The video production's been a little bit slow. Been pretty busy at work. College enrollment's picking up, so we've been doing a lot of overtime, stuff like that. So haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to making videos. But we're back. We have another project. Before we get to that, I want to thank all the subscribers. Thank all the people that have been liking the videos, and as of right now I believe it was 312 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. Thank you very much. Last year I went to a flea market. I went to quite a few flea markets, but I came across a pair of Machinist clamps. These are the 1.5 inch Brown&sharpe. I believe the number is 154C. So they were on the table for $1. So I couldn't pass them up. The only problem with them is they're missing some parts and they're missing the screws. So we've got 2 screws, 4 clamps, or 2 pairs of 2 sets of clamps, 4 pieces. So we're gonna have to make a couple of screws. For $1, I couldn't walk by them. I have quite a few different sizes of these style clamps. I didn't have any this size, but we're going to take a piece of 01. I got a piece of 7/16 01 here. We're going to make a couple of screws. We're going to harden them and hopefully put them to use. Okay. If nothing else, it'll be a cool video. Alright, so here's the print. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. And like I said, I have 2 of these screws, and they're one of each because there's 2 different styles that go inside here, and I have 1 of each. Okay, which means I need 1 of each again to make a set. So I took these apart, and they appear to be made from different periods of time. They both have the same part number on them. Both have the same pot number on them, but there are little differences between them, very subtle differences, and one of them is the capture spring here that captures the bolt in place, and in the color, a little bit of the color. There's a couple of little things that are a little different in size. The head of this bolt is a little bit bigger than the head of this bolt. I'm going to make 2 exactly the same size. I actually may make 3. This one is a little bit disproportionate to the size of this clamp. Like I said, I have many other Brown&sharpe clamps, and the head of the bolts that go in the clamps are usually smaller than the width of the actual clamp, where this one is actually a little bit bigger. So I'm not sure if this came from a Starrett. It is a little bit different than this one, other than obviously the groove. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to definitely make 2, and I may make a 3rd one so that they look nice, and they all look the same. The only problem is then I'm going to put this in the toolbox, and I'm going to have to make everything that belongs to this. My OCD isn't going to let me leave this sitting in the toolbox. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so here's the drawing. And what I did with this drawing is I measured both of these bolts. And like I said, they're not exactly the same. I kind of averaged it out. But I tried to put in the little attributes in here that, make it a Brown&sharpe. So we'll do our best to try to put those in. There's a little tiny radius in here, a little 30 thousandths radius that we're going to put in there. But kind of some odd sizes on here. But, well, it doesn't have to be perfect. It is a bolt. The only thing that really has to be really good is the thread, and we're going to do that with a die. I'm not going to try and single point this. So it's going to be approximately 2 inches and 3/4 long. The knurled area is going to be almost 600. There's going to be a grooved area in here to capture, and I have both of these, and if you look at it, you can actually see the difference from the two different times that they were made, or maybe in 2 different places. I don't know. I'm assuming these were made here. Well, I live in Rhode Island, so Brown&sharpe was in Providence, Rhode Island. Then they were in North Kingston, and then later pulled out and went to Switzerland. Yeah, different dies, different machines. I don't know. Maybe that's the difference. Not sure. Maybe one was made when they were in Providence. The other one was made when it was in North Kingston. If you look at the logos and lettering, you can see they are definitely different. So I would definitely say they were made at different times. But other than that, they're pretty close to each other. Okay, so we're going to put that little step in there, that little radius. We're going to put the groove in there to capture it. The other one is exactly the same. The only difference is it doesn't have the groove for the capture, because that one's captured by the thread. Okay, so we're going to take it over to the lathe. We're going to put it in a collet. We're going to turn it down first, and then I'm going to knurl it. And I'm going to start knurling over here to get my pattern, and then I'll knurl past what I need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare this end. I'm going to face it off, and I'm going to turn down to about 215, about 3/4 of an inch back. And that's because if you look at this drawing, we got about 1/4 inch right here that's going to have to be turned down after it's threaded. And I'm going to put a center in there to hold it, and that center is going to be, roughly 1/4 inch, 3/8 deep, and I want to be able to cut it off. But instead of always plunging in, trying to plunge in to take my cut, I'm going to prepare the end of it right around, somewhere around 215, because it's going to be turned down later anyways, and it's actually going to be cut off in front of the center. So that's how I'm going to deal with that, rather than trying to plunge in all the time. All right. Switch my feed direction. And 01, the chips off of 01 are really nasty. Alright, we're about 290, 289 right now. Almost. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit more. And this is just rough. It's just I want to be somewhere around the size so that when I put my center in here, I can see how deep I'm going to go with my center so I get good engagement, but I don't thin it right out to the end. Alright, we'll take another 60 off and take another measurement. Leaves a beautiful finish. But these things, these are very hot and wiry, and I hate them when they come down towards my hand. Alright, we're 221. Alright, so we're going to take about 5 or 6 thousandths. Just got to be somewhere around there. It makes a much nicer cut when it's heavier. You can feel it's kind of furry, where before it was nice and smooth. But it's going to be a thread on there ultimately anyways. So we're 217 right now. That's good enough. That's close enough. Alright, let's put a center in the end. It's actually going to work out pretty good because when I go to cut this down for the outside diameter, the major diameter of the thread, I can come down and just touch that, take another couple of thousandths, and it should be the size. So that actually might work out even better than I thought. Alright, I'm going to drag this out, put a center in there, get ready to cut this down to the outside diameter for the knurl. I'm going to cut it down about an extra 8 thousandths from what the outside diameter is supposed to be because the knurl is going to expand it a little bit. And right around 8 thousandths, under 7-8 thousandths under works really well. Alright, so I'm going to cut this down because I'll be able to cut this off right about here to get rid of the center, and I'll leave a little bit extra up here just so the knurler can go by it. And let's cut that outside diameter down. This is 7/16, and I got 413. So I'm going to bring that to about 405-ish, somewhere around there. Should be fine. So what I was talking about earlier is right now I got plenty of room for this cutter to get into, and I'm not always plunging in near this to try to get as far back as possible. So much better way to do it. Lost my mark, but that's pretty good. All right, that's smoking hot right now, so I'm going to give that a couple of minutes to cool down. But let's see roughly where we are. Look at that. 407, right on the money. That's good. So it's probably going to shrink a little bit. So I'm okay with that, 407. That'll work all right. And I don't care if the outside knurl is a thousandth or two different. That you'll never notice that. So I'm going to let that cool down. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to set the knurl up. I'll show you how I set the knurl up. And we got plenty of practice room over here to make sure we get a good knurl. So we'll set it up over here. If we get a really good knurl right there, we'll just knurl the whole thing. Okay? All right, we'll be back. All right, so what I usually do with this type of a knurler, and again, this is still relatively new to me, but what I do something I did with the bump knurlers. I'm going to take a piece of paper, I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to come up and touch, and I'm going to look at the pattern. But on this one, what we're going to have to do is just bring them together. Don't let them touch. And I'm just going to bring this up till it touches. They'll self-center just till you get a little bit, not really any pressure on the cross slide, but just up against it. And then I'm just going to do this. And then I look at the paper. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm looking to see that I'm getting a touch on both sides. And like I said, I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on that paper. Just kind of coming up and touching it. So that looks pretty good. And if not, I would just tweak it either way. And I usually keep my compound quick change pretty square to the spindle, so I spent some time getting this square into the tool holder earlier, so when I drop it right in, it actually works pretty good. All right, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to open this up. We got to bring this up so that the axle of this knurl is as close to the center line as possible. Okay, then we're going to bring it down, we're going to touch, and then we're going to give it some tension. And what I found, about a third of a turn to a half usually works pretty good. But we'll take a mirror, we'll look on the back side, and this one's kind of hard to see. With a bump knurler, you can see it on the top. With this one, you can't see it. You got to do it with a mirror. So we'll take a look at it with a mirror and see what we got. Once we produce the the shape that we want and we get the depth that we want, then we will turn the feed on and go across. And I'll come right up to just before I touch this, giving me plenty of knurl on either side. Okay? But down here, I can play with it. If I got a problem, then I can adjust it. The only problem with this collet is the knurl can tend to push it in because there is a lot of pressure on that knurl. So with a 4-jaw chuck or something like that, you get a lot more grip. But we'll see what happens. Give it a shot. All right, I'm just going to come up and kind of touch it. Just close. And I'm going to look down the length of this and try to put it where I want it. And that looks pretty good. I can live with that. Okay, now we need to do this slow, so we're going to knock this down. Let's see, if I just move one, I'll be at 160. That's probably not bad. My feed is in the right position. And let's see, I just want to make sure I'm feeding the right. We don't want to feed too slow. If you feed too slow, it doesn't work as nice as if you feed it a little bit coarser feed than what you turn it. All right, so let me check that out. All right, so we're feeding about 7 thousandths per revolution. All right, let's turn this on and start squishing. You can see the roll is rolling, so we're touched. And I like to use a squirt can rather than a brush. Brushes never fare well. Get my mirror. Good padding, but not enough. Not bad, but I don't know if it's deep enough. Let me get my optivisors. Don't mind my head. Alright, they still got flats. So we're going to go a little bit more. Actually, maybe we'll just let it sit for a minute. See what it does. No, a little bit more. Turn on the feed. We'll let it run about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and see what we get. That looks pretty good. Just got a little tiny flat on the top, and that's fine. All right, let's let it run. Close, I'm just going to hit the brake. All right, before I take it off, I want to take a good look at this. I can kind of see it now. That looks good. Maybe I'll switch and let it roll back. We're far enough, so let's see what it looks like. Let's take a look at it. And I'm going to speed it up and hit that with a wire brush. Usually makes a big difference. Alright, let's see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Usually where I need it, we'll bring in tight. If you're going to focus on that. All right, looks pretty good. Some swath on over there. And where it stops, a lot of times it gives a little mush. That's why you really want to clean it up on either side. But looks pretty good. So where I need this, it's going to be pretty much perfect. And there'll be a little chamfer on this side and a crown on the bolt. So, all right. All right, so I measured this over the knurl, and it measured 416, and it's supposed to be 413, so that's fine. I'm glad I took that little extra off. Probably could have got away with another couple of thousands. All right, so I'm going to cheat here, and I'm just going to mark off roughly where I want to stop. Right about there. And I'm going to turn this all down to the, what was it, 215, all the way down to here, and that's going to be threaded 1224, okay? Change my feed rate. That's way too high. Coming right at me. I'm taking about 30 thousandths at a time. This is pretty hard stuff. Spindle speed of about 910, about 4 thousandths per revolution feed rate. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's being threaded, but crappy material. When I mean crappy, it's just $212. Okay, it's supposed to be $215. We're running a die over it, so that'll be fine. Alright, so this video is getting pretty long, so that's about it for now. We'll cut it here. On the next one, we'll thread this. We will put our little groove in here. We'll face down for our little radius step. We'll cut it off, and we'll throw it in the mill and put a cross hole. Also, we have to put our little step over here. Okay? Alright, so I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Have a good day.